Hello again, everyone. It's Dwayne. It is Sunday, and it's time for the evening edition of One Man's Opinion. Um, Before we get started, as you can see, I have changed the studio around a little bit. So I got tired of looking at furniture in the background. And where I'm at, there's sunlight coming through. So you see this. Uh, let's get started here. We had a pretty interesting week. The debate last Thursday, full of substance for the most part, full of civility for the most part. Boring! There were no fireworks. Ted Cruz and John Kasich were the most um, articulate as far as substance is concerned. Rubio then came in a third, and Donald Trump didn't have enough substance in anything. It was basically the same platitudes over and over again. You talk about repeating yourself, like he accused Rubio of doing. Donald Trump repeats himself over and over and over again. I gave this debate to Ted Cruz and Kasich, Rubio, and then Cruz, or Trump rather. And Trump and Rubio actually could have switched a little bit, but that was about it. According to the polls, Donald Trump won the debate handily. It tells me the polls are full of bullshit, folks. I don't think there is a poll out there that is correct. Um, I mean, I might be wrong, you know, but so far the polls have not been very accurate on any of this stuff, if you ask me. Okay, Saturday we had two caucuses. We had the District of Columbia and we had Wyoming. Let's start with DC first, the inside the Beltway voters. Marco Rubio won handily. Well, I guess over the front runner handily. 37.3% of the vote. John Kasich came in a close second with 35.5% of the vote. Trump way back in the field with 13.8 and Ted Cruz with 12.4%. Rubio got 10 delegates, Kasich got 9, Trump and Cruz got 2 big goose eggs there. As far as the vote count, there wasn't a whole lot of votes. We're talking under 3,000 votes here. Rubio got 1,059, Kasich got 1,009, Trump got 391, Cruz got 351. Okay. Wyoming. This one was a blowout. Ted Cruz won with 63.3% of the vote. Marco Rubio, a distant second at 19.5. That surprised me, actually. Donald Trump came in a distant third at 7.2%. And John Kasich came in dead last with 0.0%. The actual count, and again, there were less than 1,000 votes here in Wyoming, but these votes counted big time. Ted Cruz got 644 votes. Rubio got 189. Trump got 70. Kasich, goose egg, not a single vote. Was he even on the ticket? I don't know. But not one vote. That's sad. That is really sad. Okay, so delegate count. Ted Cruz gets 9. Rubio and Trump get 1 each. And of course, Kasich got nada. Now, in the Democrats caucus in Wyoming, that will be taking place on April 9th. And in D.C., their Democrat caucus will take place on June 14th. All right, let's talk about Mini Super Tuesday coming up here this week. You have Illinois, Ohio, North Carolina, Florida, Missouri all having primaries, and North Mariana Island having a Republican caucus. Delegates at play here. Illinois has 69, Ohio has 66, North Carolina has 72, Missouri has 52, and Florida 99. Now, I know Florida is a winner take all state with 99. I'm thinking that Ohio is too, but I've heard two different stories on this. So someone let me know what it is because obviously somebody is not telling me the truth here. Okay, that's going to be an interesting uh, race, I guess, for Tuesday. A lot of odds making going on right now. If Rubio cannot win Florida, essentially his run is over. Right now in the polls, depending on what poll you look at, Donald Trump leads from either 5 to 20%. Don't be surprised if Ted Cruz comes in second in Florida. I don't know if it will happen, but stranger things in life have been happening here lately, okay? In Ohio, John Kasich needs to win Ohio. Depending on the poll, Kasich is ahead by 2 or 3, and Trump is ahead by 5 to 10 points. So, who knows? We'll have to wait till Tuesday to find out. Um, let's talk about the rallies real quick because we had a rally up in Chicago this past weekend. Um, pretty sad. You had MoveOn.org and a bunch of Bernie Sanders people disrupting the rally before it ever got started. It was called by the Trump organization to keep people from being hurt. These people were violent. They were loud and obnoxious. They were trying to get into the rally to disrupt. And out of safety concerns, Donald Trump said no, and they canceled it. Now, I listened to him today on Fox News Sunday, and he said that it wasn't canceled, it was just rescheduled. He never did say when it was going to be rescheduled for. Up in Dayton, Ohio, at the airport up there, in one of the big hangars up there, the Wright brothers thing, had a few protesters be mouthy, and they were escorted out. Then, in behind, while two were being led out, the distraction was enough for one guy to jump the railing and get to Donald Trump. Grabbed his pant leg, and of course, somebody had yelled, warning him, and the Secret Service were all over him pretty quick before he could do any damage. Folks, I hate to say this, but this is starting to look like 1968 again. This is starting to look like the violence of the 68 conventions, both of them, Democrat and Republican. I would not put it past these a-holes at MoveOn.org and the Bernie Sanders folks and Black Lives Matter and whoever else getting together, the communists and George Soros and all his bunch, trying to disrupt it to the point that it can't happen. And I'm pretty sure after this event up in Dayton where the guy jumped the rail to get to him, people are going to see, well, it can be done. And they're going to try more and more of it. I am worried that one of the candidates is going to be assassinated. Not on the Democrat side. I don't think that they would go after Bernie or Hillary. But I'm afraid that one of the candidates on the Republican side will be either assassinated or an attempted assassination. Shades of 1968 all over again. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am very wrong on that. Okay. Cruz and Rubio have been blaming Donald Trump for the rhetoric, and that's why all this protest and everything's going on. They're blaming Donald Trump for, mouthing off and being his, blowhard self, because that's Donald Trump. That's his MO. That is his persona. And he has said some things that have been considered, egging people on to commit acts of violence against the protesters. And now the protesters are fighting back. Now, Jan Morgan, who was endorsing Ted Cruz, has now unendorsed him. I figure that she will be going to the Trump camp here pretty quick. Ben Carson, of course, did last week. Um, after all the nasty things that Donald Trump said to Ben Carson, and for Ben Carson to endorse Donald Trump, he was promised something. That to me, he basically sold out, is what he did. Um, but anyway, in all likelihood, right now, Donald Trump is going to win handily on this Super Tuesday. Now, I don't know about Missouri. I don't know about North Carolina. Illinois, I would say that Trump or Kasich, one of the two. And maybe even Rubio will have, some luck up there in Illinois. But I'm figuring as far as Florida, Trump is going to win, and I would not put it past, like I said, that Ted Cruz come in second. Now, I may be wrong on that, but we'll find out. Okay, now let's talk about the delegate count real quick because at this point, last week, it's basically, um, all the stuff that we talked about last week as far as Trump being up a certain point or a certain percentage. He still is up a certain percentage, but in delegate count, Trump has 460. Cruz has 370. He gained 11 this past week. Rubio has 163 and Kasich has 63. There's still 100 points in between them, and Cruz has almost double uh, Marco Rubio. Over on the Democrat side, Clinton has 1,231 delegates, and Bernie Sanders has 576. We have American Samoa that had a caucus, and the North Mariana Islands had a caucus for the Democrats. And Hillary Clinton picked up 4 in each one. So she is slowly getting to the magic number. Bernie Sanders, unless something happens, is not going to get even close to her. So Hillary is the anointed one, unless she gets indicted, which we've talked about that before. I do not see happening. Talking about all the odds making and stuff again for this mini Super Tuesday. If Rubio can't win Florida, he's done. If Kasich can't win his home state of Ohio, he's done. They could keep on going to the convention and spend, other people's money. I think the money will dry up there, so they're not going to be able to compete at all. Kasich is basically betting the farm on Ohio. Rubio has to win Florida in order to stay viable. Even his win in D.C. doesn't mean diddly squat. When you start looking at the must wins, all Donald Trump has to do is just show up, and he can drain votes away from pretty much everybody except for Ted Cruz. It's going to be a two-man race after this Tuesday, I do believe. I think that it's over with as of Tuesday for the bottom two. And then the head to head takes place, and it is going to be very interesting because we will find out just how strong of support Donald Trump has. We will find out how strong Cruz's support is. And we'll find out how many people are just going to just say, screw it, I'm done. I'm not going to even bother. Going to be interesting. Oh, all right. My time is up. I thank you for yours. Thank you for being patient for this Sunday because we're getting so late. We will see you again on Wednesday. Until then, take care of one another and later.